The Crimes That Changed the U.S., Episode 2, Matthew Shepard, Murdered for Being Gay. You robbed me of something very precious, and I will never forgive you for that. But I give you life in the memory of one who no longer lives. Dennis Shepard. Welcome to Burden of History, where truth isn't just told, it's restored. Today we tell the story of a young man whose life and death forced America to confront the violence of its prejudice. This is the story of Matthew Shepard, a life full of promise. Matthew Wayne Shepard was born on December 1st, 1976, in Casper, Wyoming. He was the kind of young man who stood out not for how loud he was, but for how deeply he cared. Sensitive, articulate, gentle. He loved politics, languages, and international affairs. He was studying at the University of Wyoming, hoping to one day make a difference on the global stage. He also happened to be openly gay in a place where that was still dangerous. The night everything changed. On October 6, 1998, Matthew went to a local bar in Laramie. That night, he met two men, Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson. They pretended to be gay to lure him into their truck, but it was a trap. They drove him to a remote area outside of town, robbed him, and brutally beat him with the butt of a pistol. Then they tied him to a wooden fence in near freezing temperatures and left him to die alone in the dark. 18 hours later, a cyclist passed by and saw what looked like a scarecrow tied to a fence. But it wasn't a scarecrow. It was Matthew. Barely alive, comatose, his skull fractured, his brainstem damaged, his face so battered, the only clean area was where his tears had washed the blood away. He was rushed to a hospital in Fort Collins, Colorado. But after 5 agonizing days in a coma, Matthew Shepard died on October 12, 1998. He was just 21 years old. The world responds. News of the attack spread like wildfire. Vigils were held in every major city. Flags were lowered. Celebrities spoke out. College campuses erupted in grief and protest. But alongside the mourning came hate. At Matthew's funeral, members of the extremist Westboro Baptist Church showed up, holding signs that read, "God hates F's." In the face of this ugliness, a group of angel-costumed counter-protesters stood silently, with giant white wings that blocked the hate from view. A symbol of love outshining hatred. Both McKinney and Henderson were arrested, tried, and convicted. Russell Henderson pleaded guilty and received 2 consecutive life sentences. Aaron McKinney tried to argue a discredited gay panic defense, claiming he was provoked by an unwanted advance, but was ultimately also sentenced to life without parole. The Shepards, in their quiet dignity, asked the court to spare McKinney's life, saying they did not want more death. In doing so, they modeled the very compassion their son had lived by. Matthew's death was a spark that lit a fire. For over a decade, his parents, Judy and Dennis Shepard, fought tirelessly to make sure no other family had to bury a child for simply being who they were. In 2009, their efforts led to the passage of the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, signed into law by President Barack Obama. The law expanded federal hate crime protections to include sexual orientation and gender identity. In 2018, Matthew's ashes were interred in Washington National Cathedral, making him one of the few LGBTQ+ individuals honored there. Why we still tell this story? We tell it because hate didn't die in the year of 1998. Because even today, LGBTQ+ individuals still face discrimination, violence, and fear, especially trans youth and people of color. And because remembering Matthew Shepard reminds us of what silence allows. As we tell the stories of injustice, we also remember the people behind them. Matthew Shepard wasn't just a symbol, he was a person. And the change that followed his death didn't happen because the world suddenly got kinder. It happened because people demanded it. It happened because his family chose to turn their grief into action. So today we honor his memory by telling his story truthfully, respectfully, and unapologetically. If this story moved you, subscribe to Burden of History and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because history isn't just about the past, it's about how we build a better future. Thank you for watching.